All right. So welcome again for the first pitch workshop session conducted by the Startup Club. My name is Raghav. I'm going to be the organizer and our host today is going to be Amiya. Before I let him speak, this session is being recorded and we will be posting this on our YouTube channel as a way to sort of like instruct other people later on who are not present in this call. So first, uh, I'm running the startup club, but we have like other people who are more expert in conducting pitches and evaluating those pitches. So Amiya is one of them. I'll let him introduce himself, and then he will explain how this session is going to work, and uh, and then we will also at the end I'll tell you a little bit more about like how we're going to conduct this series forward and how you can participate in this. So Amiya, if you may introduce yourself.
Sure thing. Thanks, Raghav. Hi, guys. My name is Amiya, and I'm a partner at a company called IOTA Capital. And it's a micro VC firm. I'm also an ex-founder, ex-Amazon, Cisco. So I've been in this space for about 15 years. We already actively do investments into different startups. So with respect to this particular session, there are two objectives. The first one is to sort of help these startups understand how pitching works, what are the things that one should be looking at, and how should they really look to take things forward. And the other thing is to essentially identify good businesses. If you have something which makes sense, which is ready for investment, I would certainly want to take up that opportunity and open those doors for you. So these are the two objectives that we have through this. Now, with respect to the construct of the meeting, we are going to set it up in a way that first 15 minutes, once we start, is going to be for the pitch. And the rest of the hours are for the Q&A and any questions that I have, and sort of give you an overview of how an actual pitch would look like when you enter into any pitching session with any investor. Okay. And if the founder and I do not have any other open line of communication in terms of, let's say we are done with our Q&As, then we can open up the floor for others to sort of ask their questions. And it could be very general that, okay, in this kind of situation, how should I approach something, or how should I do this, X, Y, Z. But primarily we'll focus on the actual startup that is here and their pitch, and then the Q&A. Okay. So with respect to that, Raguram, I think you are the representative of Jedlik Motors, who's supposed to pitch today. So do you want to take up the floor and go ahead and make a pitch?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Amiya. We'll do that. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's go ahead.
All right. This is Raguram from Jedlik Motors, and we call ourselves the best of automobile worlds. I will quickly explain why we are been calling that. The why we started Jedlik was because of these big problems we face currently on our daily lives with cars and motorcycles. And when it comes to motorcycles, we found that it's offering very less safety and comfort, and it's also not suitable for all weather. And when it comes to cars, well, it's single occupied most of the time, and that causes a lot of traffic. But also, let's look at some stats. And around 40% of the motorcycle accidents, which happened in 2021, actually ended up in fatality. And around 12 to 15% of the motorcycle accidents solely happened because it was a very bad weather day. Like maybe it was very rainy and the consumers weren't able to see the plot holes in the roads and all. And when it comes to cars, around 71% of the time, the car is single occupied or maybe with just one passenger, and people spend around half hour to 1 hour just in traffic around. Well, uh, the solution is to create a fully enclosed motorcycle with airbags, AC, and pushback seats. And, yeah, it's going to be fully electric, and it's going to be self-stabilized as well. Since now we cannot be able to place the legs outside and all. And we call the product as Luton. So yeah, of course, this is not how the final product will be. Little bit of technical sneak peek behind the product. Well, it's going to have two seats, and the battery is going to be placed on the floor, and it's going to come around 120 kilometer per hour of speed, and the range is going to come around 200 kilometers per charge. And yeah, it's going to have a display console as the other electric scooters are having. And yeah, it's going to have two hub motors, one in the front and one in the back. So it's a two-wheeler. Where our product stands? Well, in 2010, Steve Jobs introduced iPad in between of mobile and laptop products. And in similar case, the pod would be in between of a scooter and a car. So, yeah. The market size, these are all data based on just 2023 stats alone. The serviceable obtainable market that comes around 10 billion, which is basically the higher than 350cc motorcycle market we are trying to target in the initial years. The serviceable addressable market is going to come around 16 billion, which is the combined total of higher than 350cc motorcycles market and the micro or mini cars market as well. The total addressable market comes around 32 billion, which is the whole electric vehicle consumer market in India, and that leaves out the uh, the the SUVs as well, because since we would not be able to actually target SUV customers in the future as well, and our product doesn't apply to them as well. The go-to-market strategies we have planned as of now are these three, where the digital marketing has become like marketing right now, since it's almost it's done by everyone. The word of mouth is going to be something that's engineered in the initial years, since we plan this product as a luxury version, and since we are also planning to adopt some car users as well, we want to drive a good word of mouth that this is the product of class or status symbol, so that they would be able to switch over as well. The product placements, it's basically placing our product in movies and TV shows or series, or maybe ads within ads as well. And by doing that to drive some engagement. Digital marketing is, of course, by leveraging Instagram, Facebook ads, and Google ads and all. So how we play? We plan to release like a luxury version by 2028, which is around four years from now, and that's going to cost around 3.5 to 4.5 lakhs. And try to get some feedback and optimization from it. And we would be planning to release an affordable version by 2032. And by that, we would be planning to achieve at least 10 million units per year. And that's going to cost around 2.5 to 3.5 lakhs. Now, the costing is a little bit tricky here, since because of the falling prices of uh, batteries, and lot more things to be taken care of. But when we are pricing this in the future, but our goal is always to place this product in between of a car and a motorcycle. So yeah, a car basically costs around 6 to 8 lakhs right now, and the bike, which is higher than 350cc, costs around 2.5 to 3.5 lakhs. And our goal would always be to place it in between of those two. So the team, we are a team of three mechanical engineers from the same college. We started out as a team back in college itself in some entrepreneurial events and all. And this is me. I'm Raguram, and I previously founded Minhawk.com, which is like a small e-marketplace to sell electric scooters online back in 2019. I had to shut it down because of the COVID, and I went to a job after that. And I started this startup last year around November, and I'm working as full time. And this is Muthuram. He's our CTO. He's an ex-Samsung. He's also working as a proposal engineer at KRR Engineering. He brings in a lot of electrical design and fabrication knowledge as well. And this is Nishant Raj. He's our COO, and he's currently working as a development engineer at TVS, and he brings in a lot of marketing knowledge, sales knowledge, and design fabrication knowledge as well. So where are we? We are in a virtual prototyping stage. We got our idea validated with space use like an venture builder, and we got a small grant from IGBA, and we got into pre-incubation programs at BITS and Unincubator, and we are actually planning to start developing a full prototype there in Unincubator in the future. So we asked, it's about funding, incubation, market access, and mentorship. And incubation, we are almost got it as of now. And yeah, where it takes us, it takes us building a prototype and testing it, feedback it, and have a good kickstart on full-scale model development for the future. Okay, there's one more thing here. Uh, that's that. This is a high concept we are also trying in parallel with what we are trying now, which is like just an two epochs uh, can be combined to be driven as a four-wheel car. But this technology is not available maybe in 5 years back when we only have engines, and that's it's a huge task to do something like this. But right now, with the power of electronics, control electronics, we think we will be actually able to do something like this, where we try to share the battery packs between both the vehicles. And let's say if one vehicle is not looking good for today, the battery is dead or something, we can just attach it with another report and track this for the maybe nearest service center and all. Or maybe you can use this for little small family trips as well. Basically works out for a family which has two Activas, uh, and they go to functions or any small trips as a family. And thank you. That's it from me. This is my pitch. And this is Raguram signing off from Jedlik Motor. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Raguram. Well done on the timing. That was about 10 minutes, and that's really good. Okay, so let me get into the Q&As. And to start with, do you remember the first time you mentioned the word EV in your pitch?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
On which slide did you mention it?
Oh no, I think I mentioned it on my third, wait, yeah, third slide fully edited. Yeah,
Right. So you're essentially developing a EV vehicle, correct?
yeah, yes, yes.
But you spoke about EV way into your pitch,
Uh-huh. Okay.
right? Now, the good part about your problem statement was that you validated it with data.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You mentioned that so and so happens, right? If you can go back to that slide, please.
sure. Is my screen visible?
Yeah. To the problem statement first. Yes. Okay. So you talk about less safety and comfort. Okay.
Yeah.
But tell me what safety and comfort has to do with accidents.
Uh-huh.
Accidents are because of internal factors, external factors. It could be diversion of attention. It could be because of bad infrastructure, bad lighting. So when you tie your safety and comfort with a certain data point, you have to
Uh-huh.
make sure that that particular data point stands. Now you talk about not suitable for all weather, 12 to 15% accidents. The weather is still
Uh-huh.
going to remain the same.
Yeah.
So how is it that an external factor you can control through your vehicle,
Uh-huh.
right? You talk
Yeah.
about single occupancy and traffic. 77% of the time, car is single occupied with one passenger. People spend around 0.5 to 1 hour in traffic. Traffic is still going to remain the same.
Yeah.
They will still have to spend, unless and until you are telling me this is like a Luna or a moped or a, what is that, Yulu and stuff, where you can take it on the footpath. I don't figure out, and that is illegal, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't see how that turnaround time will differ in any manner possible. And
Uh-huh.
because you're not in a traditional motorcycle or a scooty space, you have got a whole enclosure and all of those things. I don't see how this is going to navigate the same way that a scooty does.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
right? So while I like the fact that you have tried to provide data points, but those data points are not even close to being relevant in terms of what are the problems that you are mentioning,
Okay,
right?
sure.
So you have to make sure that when you're specifically mentioning a certain problem, then the data point should really highlight the impact of that particular problem, not just any random data point. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, because of the way this representation is, there is no impact that is created in my mind in terms of how big is this problem.
Okay.
You talk to me about less safety and comfort. Okay, so what? I mean, I
Okay.
see people, 4 people on a bike, they are doing it. I don't see why that would push them to buy something new. Weather is not going to change no matter what you do in whatever city you are. I don't see how that is going to impact any buying decision. If someone wants a car, it's not just because of the number of people it can carry, it's also because of a lot of other factors. It is also a status symbol. It is also a storage space that people can carry, the luggage or whatever, groceries. So the impact of the problem, how big is this problem? It doesn't even come out at all. These are
Okay.
just these are just hypothetical statements in terms of problems that I assume, or in my mind, people have this problem. But there is nothing conclusive coming out of it which could eventually tell me that two things. One, there is a problem, and two, how big is the problem?
Okay.
Right? Okay. Moving on to the next slide, please. You didn't
Sure.
spend enough time on your solution. You told me these are the features, but how are these features solving your problems?
Okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
why am I even creating a solution? Because there is a problem, and my solution should attend to that particular problem. If you only tell me that these are the features and leave it to me to sort of go back and assess, my attention is already in trying to figure out how is this solving that particular problem. I'm not even paying attention to the next 2, 3 slides that you have.
Okay.
Right? So you have to get into an investor's mind and try and figure out, you know this product, you know your company, you know your problems. You have, at least you think you know your problems. You know how this solution fits into the problems, right?
Yeah.
Investor, the person you're meeting for the first time and giving them in 10 minutes, if you expect them to figure out how these solutions are attending to your problems, they're not going to be able to.
Okay.
Right? So you
Yeah.
have to spend time on your solution and then link them with the problem. How? And let's take a simple example. So fully enclosed, sure, it gives you weather protection. You should have mentioned that when we talk about fully enclosed, then it gives weather protection. Fully electric, how does it solve any of the problem? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Self-stabilized, how does it solve any of the problems? I don't know, because you didn't specify the impact of the problem. If you're telling me you can control, self-stabilized is an internal nature of the product itself. It can't
Yeah.
control any of the external factors. How does it help in any of those things?
Yeah.
Two-wheeled, how is two-wheeled a solution in any way? Two-wheeler vehicles have already been there. They are already there. Everybody in this particular space will operate on 2 wheels or 3 wheels or 4 wheels. How is this a solution?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Air conditioned.
Yeah.
These are good to have things. And if you're looking at a luxury segment, I'll come to that and talk about it in more detail. But if you're looking at a 3.5 lakh, 4 lakh luxury segment, then who are you competing against? There is nothing competitive that is mentioned. Why would I make this decision to buy this particular product and not go for a Harley Davidson? That's a much bigger status symbol. The brand name that you will have to create to compare to Harley Davidson will take you, let's say you do the best, everything the best possible. You have $1 billion at your disposal. Even then, it will take you 10 years.
Okay.
Right? And
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
segment, I will add 50,000 more. I'll get into a Eon or a Alto. How would you compare yourself against those? Right? And Sure, AC is required, but is it really required? Is this really a problem? So you have to really think about these things and then try and figure out what are the actual problems and link your solutions to those problems.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go to the next slide.
Sure.
Okay.
Very good.
So this is a very design slide, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me about the design of the entire thing. Now, first thing what I want you to sort of have this clarity that when you start pitching, what is it for? In your ask, you have mentioned everything that is possible.
Uh-huh.
But what is it specifically that you want? Am I an incubator? I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
If you're
No.
pitching to an incubator, you have to optimize it for an incubator. If
Uh-huh.
you're looking for funding, then you have to optimize it for funding,
Uh-huh.
right? Now, you really need to start off by making it very clear that you are not operational. You have just started your company. You are still at your design phase. And I'm not sure that you mentioned that you are in development phase or not. So I don't know. But where are you exactly? You spoke about your journey. You spoke about a lot of factors, 3, 4 points that you mentioned, but that also didn't give me clarity. Where is your product exactly?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Right? So you
Yeah.
have to think about the investor. What do I want to know? I want to know where is your product? Where is your company? You gave me a timeline of 2028. And
Uh-huh.
then you gave me an affordable timeline of 2032. That's what's 4 years and 8 years down the line, right?
Yeah.
Now, unless and until someone is really impacted by your problem and solution statement, investor is not going to come on board. Let me give you that very frankly.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure you have reached out to different people and there might be patterns that you might be seeing that this is
Yeah.
way too far out.
Yeah.
Any investor is purely thinking about ROI.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I'm not sure how familiar with you are with the financial terms, but this is what they're looking for. They are looking for an IRR. They are looking for an ROI,
Uh-huh.
internal rate of return and return on investment. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you're not familiar, go ahead and familiarize yourself with these things. So if you give me a 4 year horizon, I have mentally stopped listening already
Uh-huh. Okay.
as an investor. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why it is extremely important for you to know who are you pitching. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep trying. I'm not saying don't try. That's the only thing you can do as a founder.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right? But then have that expectation very clear
Yeah.
that no matter how good a product you have, if you give me a 4 year horizon of investment, I'm looking for the amount of money, and you didn't even specify the amount of money that you actually need,
Yeah.
right? But I'm assuming, let's say you need 2 crores, right? You're talking about a seed stage investment. I'm looking for a exit in 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And if you're telling me ki after 28, I'm looking at 32, that's a 4 year horizon. I'm just not interested.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And most important of everything that you're trying to talk about through this slide and a lot of other slides, you're talking about 4 years. 4 years. And not even operational. As far as my assumption goes, you haven't started production yet. You haven't
Yeah.
started prototyping yet. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You're only in paper, only in design.
Yeah.
That is my assumption, but because basis everything that you told me, that's what I've concluded. Okay. Hopefully, I'm not wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And that becomes very clear that you're only in paper. There's nothing actually material that is out there with you or anywhere else. That's a
Yeah.
very big put off. So you may get incubated, but then making it or taking it somewhere, they're two very different things. Coming up with an
Uh-huh.
idea and a design is the easiest part of what you're trying to do. If I
Uh-huh.
don't see that you have anything at all in your hands, as an investor, I'm out,
Uh-huh.
right? So I when you're talking to an investor, I need to see something material coming out of this. Something actual physical needs to be there because you have got a physical product. It's not a software product.
Yeah.
Something needs to be there, and only then an investor will even consider. After problem solution impact, if you have something material in your hands, only then, and when I'm saying only then an investor will be interested, I obviously cannot say 100%. There might be someone. So I will leave that scope open. Okay. So every time I say a very generic hearing term, no, it does not mean 100%. I leave some scope for someone who might be interested. But from my experience being in this field, working with startups, working with investors, being an investor, my confidence is that 99.99% investors will not be interested.
Yeah.
Okay. So the significance of this slide only comes into the picture when you have something material into your hand. Okay.
Yeah.
One of those things that I want to talk to you about in terms of how you pitch, it came off casual. Okay. You have to be very mindful about it. The words that you use, yeah, like, so, and the general tone that you have to be more professional in your approach. Okay. So the lingo that Gen Z has, that doesn't particularly work unless you are in front of a particular investor who is very impressed by you. Only then they will tolerate it. Otherwise, it needs to be professional.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And you should share your video as well when you are pitching.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yes.
I came in and I shared the screen, and then I thought, okay, the video must be already on since I rejoined. Sorry about it. Yeah.
When you're talking about these kind of pitches, right? It's not just the product that I'm looking at. I'm also looking at the founder, because the stage that you're talking about, the product that you're talking about, everything that you're talking about, there is, let's say, 0.01% probability that I might not be interested in it at all, but I might be interested in you. You're not just selling the product. You're not just selling what you're trying to do, a vision. You're also selling yourself. Can this person sitting in front of you build that trust and confidence in you to back you up to do something? Okay. So it's a combination of a lot of different things. Don't just focus on the product. You are a product on sale as well. Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who is an early stage investor betting on? Can any investor say that I am putting, say, 10 lakh rupees in this particular product or in this company and this will be successful? Can any early stage investor say that? If anybody tells you that I know I have a 100% success rate in my portfolio, they are lying. Or they are too early and they've just been lucky. Okay. No investor can have a 100% success rate in their portfolio. Otherwise, they would be billionaires. Okay. And they would not be investing in seed stage startup or pre-seed stage startups. They would probably be looking at Series A, Series B onwards. Okay. So who are they betting on at this particular stage? You. Can you give them the confidence that you will make this work? Okay. So be professional in your approach and understand that you have to put things in a way and in a perspective that gives confidence to the investor to be able to trust you and back you up. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Moving on to the next slide, please. Okay. So this slide can go one of two ways. One, someone could love your audacity that you haven't done anything yet. And that is quite literally nothing yet, because it's, like I said, everything is in paper. Okay. You haven't done anything yet, but you're comparing yourself with Steve Jobs and Apple. They would love your audacity, or they would absolutely tell you that what an utterly rubbish comparison this is.
Okay.
It can go only one of these two ways. Okay. So when you're putting a slide like this, either create a very strong narrative
Uh-huh.
that why am I even thinking that I can compare myself with Apple?
Mhm. Okay.
Or or Raguram can compare himself with Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Why? Okay. Otherwise, this slide can massively backfire. Massively.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it speaks about your mindset. You don't have, and sorry if I'm being too blunt, but
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
uh, this is something that every founder, when they get in front of an investor, they need to be very, very careful of. How are you coming off as? Are you coming off as someone egotistical? Are you coming off as someone arrogant? Are you
Mhm.
coming off as someone who cannot be trained, who cannot be
Mhm.
coached?
Mhm.
Steve Jobs was that person, actually. He never listened to anybody.
Yeah.
Are you coming off like that? Because then most investors will back off because they want a portfolio where the founders have the learning attitude and aptitude to figure out what's missing, learn new things, adapt, and create a path to success. If you are
Uh-huh.
coming off as someone who's not going to listen, then even if you have a good product, there will be investors who will prefer not to invest. And I'm purely talking about an investor, not an incubator. They have a completely different metric altogether.
Yeah.
Okay. So be very, very careful of when you're putting things like this. Comparison can help, but keep it modest.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next slide, please. This is the first slide where you mentioned EV.
Yeah.
Okay. So be very careful of how you want to project yourself. You are an EV company, you are an EV vehicle company with a lot of different add-on features.
Uh-huh.
But if you
Yeah.
miss it, and is this the target of EV market? Is this how the market sizing of EV will look like?
Probably no, but yeah, this is the market we stats based on fuel engines, not the EVs at all. Since
You
the
see where I'm
EV,
going with this?
yeah, yeah,
So
I get this.
this, I if you're telling me this and I'm looking at these numbers and I have already heard a couple of EV pitches, as a matter of fact, I've had heard at least 20 EV pitches right now.
Uh-huh.
And your numbers are way off,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
right? You lose my trust and confidence on this slide completely.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay. So if you mention the word EV, make sure that you're doing the market sizing of EV,
Uh-huh. Okay. So
right?
if we are not like mentioning it as an EV, since we are trying to position this as not just an another EV company, uh, and it's just the product is what we are trying to sell, not the electric vehicle part, where we can uh, let's say we have less fuel expenses and all. Almost every company does that. So we always try to position this as a product company. Like this is a new product, new class of vehicle trying to build and all. So if that is the case, is this okay, or still we should bring in the EV stats, put that in and try to surface.
So how you position and pitch your company is up to you. I'm here to listen to you.
Okay.
Okay. If you are confused in terms of what do you want, how do you, and that actually raises a very, very big question. That was actually my next point to you,
Uh-huh.
which
Okay.
was, do you understand your target market? Who is your target
Uh-huh.
persona? What is
Uh-huh.
it going to look like? Because the way I see it, you're telling me everything about a fuel-based product, but you have mentioned EV. How
Uh-huh.
do you actually understand who you are trying to sell? Because basis that, everything else will be formulated.
Okay. So the target market needs to be put in. We do have like a target market. I think I have to just put that in slide as
No,
well.
and again, I would urge you to go back and revisit it because if you're asking me the question that should I put EV or should I put just the product, then you don't
Uh-huh.
understand your target market.
Uh-huh. Okay.
If you understood your target market, then you would have actually told me that this is my target market. That's why I'm positioning my product like this.
Uh-huh. Okay.
You see the irony in this argument here?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you understand who you're trying to sell, you know what you're selling. If you don't understand who you're trying to sell, then you're just trying to sell,
Uh-huh.
right? It's like saying that someone is selling, say, pen on the street. Anybody in a car, anybody in a motorcycle, anybody on a bicycle, can you buy this pen? Can you buy this pen? Can you buy this pen?
Uh-huh.
Or you set up a proper stationery shop because you know you want that kind of crowd to come to you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's the difference. Sure, you will be able to sell some on the street as well. But then your marketing is way off. Your GTM is way off. You don't even know. In a car, you don't know if you are looking at someone who actually even uses a pen.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right? So you have to really figure out who is it that you're trying to sell. And that was my next point.
Uh-huh.
Your target persona and all of those things, be clear on that. Let's go to the next slide because it very closely associates with your GTM.
Uh-huh.
Word of mouth. Okay. In this segment, product placement. Do you know what all this is going to cost? You have mentioned a lot of things, but do you have any idea of the costing?
Yeah, it's going to cost a lot, of course.
A
Yes.
lot is not a number. Give me a number.
Yeah.
Do you have an understanding?
No, not yet. No. I
Okay.
should be that. Yeah.
I looked at this slide and I straight away had the impression that you don't know what you're talking about in terms of your GTM. And again, I'm sorry if I come off as too harsh.
Yeah.
But these are
Yeah. That's fine.
all to make sure that these things stay in your mind and you work your ass off to
Uh-huh.
make sure that you get these things on, or you get clarity on these items.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Word of mouth. Do you know how long it takes to actually get to any scalable number? You had 200 units for your premium model. Do you know how long it will take?
Yeah. It would take a lot of time. Yes.
Any product
Huh.
placement, you mentioned about a lot of different things. Do you know they cost a bomb?
Uh-huh.
Okay. You would
Okay.
have to raise an investment of at least 10 CR just to spend on marketing. And
Uh-huh.
that won't even give you a runway of 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're giving me 2 CR number, 5 CR number, then looking at everything that I'm looking at, it won't work. Just your
Uh-huh.
marketing expenditure for a 1 year runway, and let's assume that you make the shittiest videos that are possible, shittiest digital marketing campaigns that you can run. Even then, your 1 year runway, assuming what you mentioned stays as it is, that will cost you 10 CR at least.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you talk about your GTM, you have actually increased my uncertainty and doubt to the next level. Because this is not how I would do the GTM of this particular product in the first place.
Okay.
These are all the most expensive options that you've chosen apart from word of mouth.
Okay.
Do you actually know what are the different channels through which you can sell your product? See, what is GTM? GTM is
Uh-huh.
go to market. What does that mean? How do you take your product to the market? There are offline methods, there are online methods. Everything that you have mentioned is online. Where is offline?
Uh-huh. Okay.
So you have to really figure out what GTM means. And you have to really figure out the different channels through which you can take your product to the market.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very limited set of what you can potentially do with your product.
Mm-hmm.
It does not give me any clear picture, and these are the most expensive options that you've actually chosen.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you really need to figure out when your GTM, costing for your GTM when you're putting it in a slide, because I'm looking at your product placement and I'm hearing what you said. And I'm like, you can't do it with the investment that you're looking to raise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure even if you were to give me a number, you would have given me a 5 CR number, 2 CR number like that. I'm sure that's the kind of number you had in your mind. I'm thinking maybe like a 2 CR number you had in mind.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So basis what you have told me, that's what I understood, that this is what you're trying to raise. But you won't be able to move the needle even 5% with 2 CR number.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. So figure out your costs. They are extremely important. Nowhere you have told me what's your COGS. You understand what COGS is?
No.
Cost of goods and
Yeah.
services.
Awesome. Okay, okay. Yeah.
What is it going to cost you to build this particular product? Do you know? Build a prototype. Forget about a scale. Build a prototype. How much is it going to cost you?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know?
I do know. I think I have to mention those as well. I guess.
More than
Uh,
mention those, you have to remember those. You are the
okay.
founder. You're the
Uh-huh.
CEO of the company. If the CEO of the company doesn't know his numbers, who's going to know?
Uh-huh. For building the prototype, we are actually looking at grants of around 15 lakhs right now,
You won't be
and
able to achieve anything in 15
uh-huh, uh-huh.
lakhs. What is it? What is it you will be able to build in 15 lakhs? Tell me that.
Uh, it's just an alpha prototype where
You're
we
saying
would
you'll be able
not
to build the
be.
entire product in 15 lakhs?
Oh no, 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 not at all. That's going to take around the small, maybe hiring five to 10 people. Right now, since we are three people basically working, and that's going to take around. I'm planning around 2 to 3 crores, of course. Again, coming to that point, completely neglecting the whole
So you have
market strategies and all.
so you have already closed the number that you had in mind.
Yeah, but but not for these alone. Just for building a prototype and not doing any marketing and all. Just for building a prototype, I have raised. The reason why I have not shared those like right now is because I know the stage of the company is like it's basically in very early stage. Just got the idea validated and all,
Sure.
and trying to pitch this into incubators and raise grants in the initial scale. And since, yeah, of course, no investor is going to come in without an actual product.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now I understand that, but see, these are the things that give people the confidence that you know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Even as an incubator, I want to know what is it going to cost you.
Mhm.
And will I even be able to furnish that? Say, let's say I give you 15 lakh grant,
Mhm.
but there is still a remaining amount. Where is that going to come from? Why should I put my 15 lakhs in you and not someone else who can actually build a product in 15 lakhs?
Mhm. Okay.
How is it that you're going to give an incubator that confidence?
Uh-huh.
Right? So you
Yeah.
have to really be on top of your numbers and know what is it exactly going to cost you, because the biggest problem in any hardware product is your cost.
Yeah.
And just the cost of the product, then the marketing, then these inventory, and then a lot of different supply chain and logistic factors. How are you going to manage those things? And I'm not even sure if you have thought about any of this,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
but give it a thought. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Next slide, please.
This one. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not going to touch this because this is all hypothetical. I'm
Yeah.
not even sure on what basis you have actually given these numbers.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, just how we play, I don't know what it means. This
Okay.
is actually a pricing strategy. So
Yeah.
put it as pricing strategy so that people understand.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Because this word play and all, na, it works for certain people. It can backfire on certain people. The
Okay.
simpler you can keep it, the more effective it will be.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
So, and in your pricing strategy, feedback and optimization is so generic.
Uh-huh.
Product market fit in terms of feedback and optimization, it's like saying that I want to go to office during the day. You want to go at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 5 p.m. Nobody knows.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't even know what this means. And how do you define a product market fit is totally up to you. But then you have to sort of identify a particular metric. Feedback and optimization nowhere associates itself to any metric. You could just
Uh-huh.
identify and say that if I achieve a month-on-month sale of, say, 10 units or a quarter-on-quarter growth of, say, 15%, then I would, and be it for at least 3 quarters, 4 quarters, then I would say I have a product market fit.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, this is just, yeah, it's that example. Nobody knows what it means.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and what makes you think that by 2032 you will be able to give an affordable version?
Well, we would be actually starting to build as soon as we release like a small unit like in the by 2028, and I think Ola did it, but again that's a big thing.
These are
Like
all
there is
assumptions.
there is like a lot of money. So yeah,
Yes.
if
But
if
let me,
something happens here, no, yeah, yeah,
so
please go on.
these are all assumptions.
Yeah.
Don't even put it in the slide. Okay.
Mhm.
Talk about what you're going to do as an immediate monetization next step. Because
Uh-huh.
your product market fit, do you know how long it will take?
Depends. Yeah, it it
It
it
can
it's
take you
fine.
4 years just to reach product market fit itself. Forget about
Yeah.
working on a new line, production
Uh-huh.
line. You might just be struggling to figure out how to sell this, what you have built. How do you know?
Uh-huh.
You're talking about 6, 8 years down the line.
Uh-huh.
Forget about the
Yeah.
next step. Just focus on the immediate step that you're going to execute on.
Uh-huh.
It's 2028 by when you are looking to build the product, then let's just keep it that way.
Uh-huh.
And then try and give a metric that how am I going to figure out whether I've achieved a product market fit or not, however long
Okay.
it takes. Right? That would
Yeah.
give me much better confidence than to know ki you've given me 2 milestones. You have no idea how you're going to measure product market fit. And you have no idea by when you're going to start a new production line to achieve, to build your affordable line.
Mhm.
There's no confidence there whatsoever. Okay.
Yeah.
So be very careful what you're trying to put in this one.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the next slide, please.
Okay.
This is fine. I don't have any specific comments on this.
Mhm.
Go to the next one, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, the ask, funding, incubation, market access, mentorship. Okay. Funding, how much? Incubation, exactly what you're looking for, because your market access and mentorship would potentially be a part of your incubation.
Mhm.
So why
Yeah.
have you specifically mentioned market access, not under incubation or funding?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Mentorship you would receive through one of these. So are you going out specifically in the market to figure out that who's that next mentor who can come on board and tell you what to do, or at least brainstorm with you?
Uh-huh.
So the ask, it needs to be specific. If you are telling me funding, give me an amount. If you are
Okay.
asking for incubation, so in funding, you have given an amount specifically. And again, that's where I go back to my original point. You need
Mhm.
to know who you are pitching to and what is the
Mhm.
objective of your pitch. Right now, it's everything. That's why it's
Mhm.
extremely difficult to categorize and tell you how to structure it. But if you're giving me a funding pitch, then I would say give me an amount. Then ask your investor that I would also need your help to gain access to the market. I would also need your help to gain access to mentors who could help me guide and build this product further.
Mhm.
I would
Okay.
also need your network access to be able to raise a next round of investment shall the opportunity arise.
Okay.
Right? I would also need your access to reach out to the government partners and bodies to gain respective certifications and be able to and have that compliance to be able to take things forward, because you will need those and you haven't
Mhm.
mentioned anywhere.
Okay.
Right? So be
That's a
very
good point. Yeah.
specific.
Mhm.
And our journey so far, like I said, we just mentioned about a lot of different things, but the biggest thing is you are still in design phase. You haven't developed anything yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Grant from I Create. Okay. How much is the grant, if I may ask?
That's for around 50,000 for developing a small scale model, like a small scale prototype. And yeah,
Have you developed that small scale prototype yet?
we are going to.
Going
We
to,
are
you
not.
haven't.
Yeah,
See, your
yeah, I
answers are
haven't.
vague. That's where I said, be professional. It's a yes or no question,
Okay.
right? If you are going to, what does it mean? You
Uh-huh.
haven't yet developed it.
Okay. So then no, 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 Steve on the answer. Okay.
Okay. When did you receive the grant?
Uh, Around last month,
Last week. Okay.
around
So it's
27.
fairly
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's still some hope and possibility that you will be able to do this. Okay.
Mhm.
Pre-incubation at BITS and Anna incubator. Okay. What does it mean?
Well, we got into like an program with Bits and Anna Incubator where we would be given space to work on and develop the idea from idea to prototyping stage. And we wouldn't be actually giving out any form of equity to them. Since when it comes to the incubation phase, we have to deliver some maybe 2 or 3%, and yeah, that's what it means. And
Are
yeah,
they giving you any funds to build? Are they giving you any funds to build the product?
they would be actually waiting our pitch for government grants or any form of grants available to develop uh, to develop the product. Yes.
So you have given 3% of your equity for vetting your pitch
No,
and
not yet.
a space. If
Yeah.
you were to go through with this is what you're giving your 2-3% equity for.
Well, not yet. Not right now. Only when we are actually entering into incubation phase, we will be giving out the equity. Right now, we aren't giving any. So,
I'm not talking
uh,
about right now. You understand the question here. The question is, what is it that this equity that you're giving for? It's not about when. It's about what is
okay.
it for?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It is for validating your pitch and giving you a space,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Do you think it's justified?
In this stage, I think it is justified since we wouldn't be able to afford a good working space with the bills and also there's a lot of not just the working space. There's also the machines as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, and that's a very good point. As a founder, we need to be very careful and understand what makes sense for it and what doesn't. There is no hard and fast rule. That's why I asked you that very question, that what do you think about it?
Mhm.
Okay. For someone, another founder in your position, they could potentially think that, hey, if you're not giving me at least a 15 lakh capital, working capital, then I'm probably not interested.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as a founder, it's your call to take. You have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay. And understand the consequences of it. This is an equity that is gone if you do give it. And
Okay.
if you do,
Yeah.
if, and again, it's all about the founder at this particular stage, your commitment towards being able to build and build this product at the same time being able to sustain yourself. Will you be able to sustain yourself till 2028? That's another big question,
Yeah.
right? You're working on this full time. Now, the next question for me would be, if I were to go into a deep dive, then I could potentially ask you a lot of other questions just to understand where you are at as a founder. What is the risk that I am taking in terms of you quitting before this product being built?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Because entrepreneurship is extremely hard. It takes a lot of it takes a lot out of you when it comes to the mental strength and trying to do a lot of different things, literally extinguish 100 fires that are burning on a day-to-day basis. It's very
Yeah.
easy to quit. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So for 4 years of sustainability that you're talking about, and most probably for at least the 4 year, if not 4 years, let's say 3.5 years, you will probably face more rejections than approvals.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. Okay, until I forget about 3.5, I would say actually 4.5 years, you will probably face more rejections than approvals. Can you sustain yourself
Of course.
mentally,
Yeah.
financially, and
Yeah.
everything else? Your friends, your family coming to you and telling you that, You've been working on this for 2 years. You've been working on this for 3 years. You're not making a penny. How will you sustain a family? It's time for you to get married. What are you
Uh-huh.
going to do? Right?
Yeah.
So that's why it is hard. If you had $1 billion sitting in your pocket and you could just work on this, it was easy. But you don't
Yeah.
have that. That's why
Yeah.
it's hard. Okay. So you have to think about these things as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Where it takes us, where what takes us.
Uh-huh. The ask takes, then I can try to mention that where the
Yes.
ask.
There is nothing conclusive in this. What,
Uh-huh.
what is going to take you where?
Uh-huh.
And where are you going to spend it? If you ask for funding, one amount is missing, then how are you going to spend that funding amount?
Uh-huh.
I need to know
Yeah.
and all of these things, right? So this slide needs major fixing in terms of what you want an investor to perceive out of it.
Mhm.
Okay. Next slide, please.
Sure.
This was a very funny slide to me
Yeah.
because it sounded like you were just not sure if you can do this.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Your wordings were, I hope, I think. If you
Uh-huh.
know you can do it, then why do you think? Why are you not sure about it? Why are you not telling me with a commitment that this is what I am going to do? And then the
Okay.
next question would be when.
Uh-huh.
But if you the recording will be available, so maybe just go back on YouTube and watch what you said when you were presenting this slide.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're putting a slide, be sure this is what you're doing. It might sound very fancy. It might sound like, yeah, this is just the next revolutionary thing. But if you don't have the confidence, if you can't portray that confidence to me, I will never have that confidence in you.
Uh-huh. Of course. Yeah.
Right? Um, okay. So overall, this is my comment on your 10 minutes of what
Uh-huh.
you said. Okay. Any
Sure.
questions you have for me?
No, I think you explained it. I think I have all my doubts cleared. There's a lot of things obviously needs to be fixed, I guess. I would start. I will be working on this. Uh, it was very very nice. I think it's very eye-opening for me in a lot of different sites. So yeah, I think the next thing for me to do is start working on this e-commerce and all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, surely think about these things. I would say surely think about being an entrepreneur and the product that you've chosen.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of different things that I've mentioned because cost, time, your other commitments, this is what is going to kill you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
be very sure about it. Because once you start doing it, right? I've been a founder myself. And it me quitting when I started because I didn't know enough. Nobody told me how to figure out certain things. And I
Uh-huh.
started, and quitting it later was way more painful than what it would have been if someone had just told me that, boss, this is going to cost you 10 CR. And to get to those 10 CR, you need to spend at least 2 CR. Where are you going to get those 2 CR?
Yeah.
If this is pure maths and probability to me, I'm not trying to discourage you, but I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to tell you the risks that you carry. Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, any pre-seed or seed stage company, the stage where you are at right now, most investors would be betting on you.
Mhm.
Okay. A good mix of the product, the company, the business model, and you. Okay. You need to come off in a way that I can do this. Look, I have done this. I've got it this far. Now I need your help to take it to next milestone.
Mhm.
Okay. So you need to be very, very clear in terms of what is it that you want to do. Do you even want to do it?
Okay.
There
Yeah.
is absolutely no shame or nothing negative in terms of saying, I'm not ready to do this. I'm not saying don't do it later. Once you have more clarity of understanding of business, of what GTM means, of what marketing means, of what pricing strategy looks like, what different monetization options are potentially there. Nowhere you've covered how you're going to monetize it,
Mhm.
right? You've just mentioned I'll sell the bike. But what else?
Uh-huh.
Do you have
Yeah.
anything else? Is there any other avenue of monetization? You have to think about these things
Uh-huh.
and get into entrepreneurship when you're ready for it. You have to really know what a business means.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about building a product. There's a lot more to it. Building a product, I would easily tell you that building a product at this stage, the stage you're in, it's 10% of the effort that you have to put in. The 90%
Mhm.
of the effort is selling it.
Mhm.
Can you sell? Okay. So
Yeah.
take your time, go back, figure things out. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Anybody else? Do you guys have any questions? I'll probably take another 4 or 5 minutes and answer your questions.
I've got to say that was a really constructive session. We learned a lot about like how investors perceive these pitches and what they look for and how specific you need to be. Because a lot of the questions that came across were like about like how specific, like, they were digging into how much the founder knew about the product and the path forward. So
Exactly.
I think that level of clarity is required when you're presenting so that people understand that you know what you're doing. Like Amiya was saying, the investment is going on you as a founder, like, because you're the one who's taking the lead for executing that idea, whatever idea you're proposing. So it was a really wonderful session. Even I learned a lot, like just looking at it. So I do have a few questions about the product itself and some of the things that you've shown. But I do want to let people know that we kind of like went over the hour that we set out to do, but actually it was really productive. So I just like, didn't want to interrupt. We can take like maybe till 12:30 to like go through like your questions you may have or like comments or something else. Questions you may have to the
Um,
founder or Amiya himself. So
Sorry, Raghav, I
yeah,
have another meeting, so I
okay,
probably have another 5 minutes at best,
okay, fine.
right? Otherwise, I'll need
All
to
right,
drop off.
sure. Yeah, maybe we'll close it at 12:15 then.
Yes,
All
please.
right. The question that I had was like the last slide that you just showed, where like you're combining those two pods together. I mean, the way that I look at it, you're not maximizing the space of it, and you're basically defeating the whole point you had about like how it's more traffic efficient. Obviously, if you basically drove those two space, like the same space at separate ones, you would probably like be able to more easily go through traffic. Why would anybody want to do that pairing? Um, it doesn't make sense as a engineering from an engineering perspective. I was just wondering, like, you have a like
Yes.
a
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Of course. So that idea actually came out, and out of the experience like myself had, when my electric scooter, I own an electric scooter, and it fell down on middle of the road, and it was like around 11 p.m. at night. There was no one to even tow me or even just to call for. And one fine gentleman came in this normal petrol vehicle, petrol motorcycle. He just came in and he told me up to my home. It was just 2 kilometers away, and that's when I thought of, okay, if something like this happens in the future, because we are moving slowly towards electric, and this is going to make an impact for them, at least not just tow the vehicle just by our legs, but instead have a actual solution for it. That's one thing. Number two is, I have seen a lot of families, just in my own, as well as my friends and colleagues as well. They traveling in pairs of two vehicles on their just a family. Let's say the father and the son is on a bike, and the mother and the daughter, or mother and the son, is on another scooter, and they would actually be traveling uh, in cities, inside cities, to their nearby family functions and all. So that's when I thought of, these guys cannot afford actually a car to actually buy a car. That's why they are traveling like this. And the reason was not they wouldn't be able to move around traffic and all. At the time, a car is needed actually. That's where the car is actually coming in to travel as four people, not just two. And people actually travel in twos in cars as well. So that's where this whole the idea of combining two epochs comes in actually.
Okay,
So
but
yeah,
the numbers, if you look at the numbers, right? Like let's say that the situation that you're talking about, where a family of four they want to go somewhere and they use bikes, right? If they want to get two of these epods, it's going to cost them 6 lakhs, right? With
yes, of
that, like
course.
they could probably buy a car. So how
Yeah,
does this solve that problem?
yeah. So we found out we like had some, let's say some we did some research on and found out that the automotive purchase culture actually works in a way that we won't directly buy a car. In the start, we actually buy a scooter or maybe a motorcycle for a family itself. No one buys a car out of directly they go to a job or the start of the career. They slowly move on their idea that maybe in 5 or 6 years I need to buy a car because that's like a status symbol for me, or it also helps my family a lot, like traveling in some small city trips and all. So that's where we come in. The product is going to be future upgradable. So let's say you buy an e-pod, you don't need to buy a car. You just buy an e-pod right now instead of buying a
Okay,
motorcycle. In
understood.
5 years, you don't need to buy a car. You just buy another e-pod and you can just connect it with each other and travel
Okay,
anytime you want
all
as
right.
you like.
Yeah. So before Amiya has to leave, like, does anybody have a question to Amiya?
Hello.
Yeah, Ashraf, please go ahead. Ashraf.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I'm very passionate about building something big, and I do have few ideas, but I'm spending my many times from past few weeks figuring out which ideas to choose and work on it because I don't want to work on ideas which will not work for me in future. So, how to finalize some good ideas to start working on it is what my question.
So,
Or to
Arshad,
finalize.
let me tell you this. I think I can't remember who, but one of the celebrity founders, he said that there are 140 billion people. If everybody has even two ideas a day, there are 280 billion ideas, 280 crore ideas that we are floating around in the country. Okay. So I'll tell you this. Ideas don't matter.
Okay.
Execution does. Okay.
Okay.
For two simple reasons. One, there is only one way of knowing whether an idea is going to work for you or not.
Hmm.
In theory, in your mind, in your hypothesis and assumption, sure, yeah, something works, something doesn't work, whatnot, and you have figured out your reasons and logic behind it working for you or not.
Hmm.
Okay, but until and unless you put it to practice and you actually implement it, you won't know the different challenges. Maybe the ideas that sounds best to you, you start implementing it, then the execution level challenges, you might just realize that, man, this is way more difficult than I thought.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Okay.
the only thing I would tell you is forget about how good an idea looks to you.
Hmm.
Take a business model canvas,
Hmm.
or if you don't want to take a business model canvas, take a lean canvas.
Hmm.
Okay. And this is,
Hmm.
see, all of these canvases are extremely theoretical, but they will
Hmm.
still give you some idea, some sense of the
Hmm.
value in your idea.
Hmm.
Okay. Take one of these canvases,
Okay.
go to that particular piece and put in
Hmm.
as much detail as you can find out of that or in that particular field. It will take your
Okay.
cost, it will take your this revenue, it will take your persona, who are you targeting, it will take your solution, it will take your value proposition, it will take your logistics and supply chain and other connectivities that you need, etc., etc.
Hmm. Hmm.
Take one of these canvases and put your values in there, as much
Okay.
detail as you can think of. And then look at those different things, the ideas that you think have value. You might
Hmm.
realize that something that looked easier or something you felt more passionate about, execution is extremely tough.
Hmm. Got it.
Once you do this exercise, then come back and figure out what makes sense to you based on that particular canvas and go ahead and execute it. And even then, you might realize that everything in theory that I had said, my execution is still very far from it. Okay. So there is no
Got
easy
it.
way to say which idea to choose, but pick an idea and stay committed to it.
Got it.
Execution, like I told Raguram, 10% is everything that you have done, 90% is sales, right? Similarly, 10% is the idea, 90% is the execution.
Okay, got
Actually, I would even put it like 1% is the idea, 99% is the execution.
it. Got it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I know there are so many examples. I know this guy who started a company for organizing high-level meetups, high-level offline meetups. Okay. Uh, After running an operation for 1 year, he is now he has now completely transformed that particular platform into marketing. It's not
Okay.
about meetups anywhere at all. So when you start executing, you realize your different level of challenges, whether the target market is there, whether you have paying customers, what sort of amount is coming your way, can you remain cash flow positive, what your financials are going to look like. And again, you need really, every founder really needs to have an understanding of business and selling. If you can't sell as a founder, don't be a founder. If you don't
Got it.
understand business as a founder, don't be a founder. Or find someone as a co-founder who understands these things or can do these things.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
start executing, do your canvassing. That would hopefully give you a fair bit of idea, and then go back to execution. You'll find a very different level of details there.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amiya sir.
No
It
problem
will
at all,
really
buddy.
help me.
I'm glad to know that. Okay, I have
All
to
right,
drop
guys.
off, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all have
Go
to
ahead.
leave. So just to let you know that we're going to conduct these series of workshops every month, and Amiya will be present. So we request all the startups to like sign up for these this event. So if you want your startup to be evaluated like this, please sign up for the form. I posted the link in the chat. Thank you, Amiya. Thank you, Raguram. Thank
I
you,
would
everybody,
like
for
to
joining us.
request Amiya sir to share his LinkedIn ID so that we
LinkedIn,
can
yeah.
connect with him. It will be very helpful for me.
Sure. Just give me one second.
I'm actually going to post it in the chat. I was just
Oh, you have it?
getting it. Yeah, I already have the link.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yeah, I have posted it in the chat. So if you want to connect with Amiya, you can use this link. We're also available
Sure.
on the Telegram channel. So the link to our Telegram channel is on our official website, and I've posted the link for that as well. Thanks a lot for everybody for joining. Thanks, Amiya. Thanks, Raguram.
Sure.
See
Thanks,
you all
Raghav.
next
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good luck, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.